All right. Well, in between their inability to keep your taxes in check, there's something else going on here in the city of Overland Park, as they have seemed set to defy the federal government over immigration and DEI policies after receiving a $500,000 grant from the Department of Education. Here to talk about it is our friend Dave Trabert on KCMO Talk Radio with the Kansas Policy Institute. Dave, good morning. What are the details, my man?
Well, good morning, Pete. It's good to be here. The city manager says the city won't violate any laws over DEI, for example, but that really comes down to how they want to interpret what the laws say. We have seen so many instances of school districts, for example, in Kansas, saying, oh, no, we're not violating the law, when a plain reading of it says, yeah, hell yeah, you're violating the law. They find ways to dance around it. What this really comes down to is it's another reminder that the staff is going to do what the staff wants to do. You know, there's a great quote in Newt Gingrich's new book where he says the federal civil servant bureaucracy refers to presidential appointees as the summer help. The staff is going to do what the staff wants to do. You know, it's just look at the budget. Staff prepares, this is what we need, and you have city council rubber stamp it. They don't make any changes. They just say, wonderful. This is as lean as it could be. That's baloney.
Newt Gingrich writing another book. I didn't have that one on my bingo card. Gosh, dang, he's written so many I can't keep up. Okay, Dave Trabert bringing the heat. There you go. Okay, so with that being the case then, like, what do Overland Park residents need to know about this and what it could mean for them and, you know, the budgets and whatnot going forward, if anything?
Well, the budgets are going to continue to grow because, and that's why property taxes continue to grow, even though they're sitting on over $100 million in cash reserve. Money they collected from taxpayers in the past and didn't spend. They want to hold on to that and collect more from you. You have, the Overland Park has something on their website that claims that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce says companies with DEI practices perform better. Well, they're citing McKinsey studies that cannot be replicated. Researchers from the Foundation for Economic Education have tried multiple times to produce the same results that McKinsey allegedly produces. They're not there. They'll say whatever they want to do whatever they want. It just comes down to the staff is going to do it, and they don't want to enforce immigration. They admit they don't have any agreement with the feds to enforce, and they won't do anything about it.
Do we know whether or not there have been moments when Overland Park has gotten in the way of ICE doing work in its city, or is there not evidence of that just yet?
I'm not aware of anything of that nature, but it's a clear defiance. They're listening to what appears to be a minority opinion. Anywhere you go where you look at polling results, the way that Overland Park is acting is not what the general public wants. They're just going to do it no matter what.
So then what is the answer here? Is it to get the city council? I mean, listen, they've got elections in Overland Park this year. I don't know how closely you're following or watching them, but is it to basically use the ballot box to correct some of this, or is it something else? Because you make it seem like no matter what the council does, the staff is going to do what the staff is going to do. So that could be disheartening for some voters who hear this and say, what does it matter anyway?
Well, that's a great point, and I think you're right, Pete. The voters need to get involved. There have been good candidates in the past. I don't go into names because we don't support or oppose, but I will say that there have been good candidates in the past that just didn't quite make it. You look at the turnout, it's really low in any municipal election. We need more people to get involved and really understand who is acting in the support of taxpayers versus just doing what it takes to get reelected.
You know, I think you're obviously right there about that in terms of how to view some of these candidates. I know you guys don't go down that road, but what should people be looking for when it comes to candidate quality? Because here's the other thing. People get discouraged because they get the flyers in their inbox And everyone says the same thing. We want safe streets and, you know, we want to fix the potholes. And everyone sounds the same when they're running for office in these city races, especially in a place like Overland Park. So how do you decipher what's what and who's who in these things?
Well, citizens need to learn how to kind of flip the script on candidates. It doesn't matter what party they're in. Because, as you said, it doesn't matter. They'll say whatever they need to say, like we support public education. Well, of course, everyone does. That statement is meaningless. In the case of property taxes, like for Overland Park, you want to ask a candidate, will you support an independent efficiency study of the city budget? Will you instruct staff to prepare a budget that doesn't cut services that you think are needed, but doesn't raise property tax? The city council gives staff next to no direction, if any. It's just, here's the budget, we do it. You need leaders, and that's often lacking in cities and counties and the state. We need strong leaders who will take action.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. Dave Trabert on KCMO Talk Radio at the Kansas Policy Institute. Always really good insight, Dave. And you're covering these stories at the Sentinel that, you know, you and I both know the Kansas City Star and some of the others in town wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. They wouldn't come near this stuff. But you guys do it. That's why people got to be reading. So great job.
Thanks, Pete.
Excellent as always. Dave Trabert on KCMO. You know, I've had my differences with the Overland Park mayor, Kurt Skoog, but I will say I think he's going to win his reelection this year, and I don't think it's going to be close. He's running against a guy named Faris Farasati, who used to be on the city council and is a nice man, but there's just no evidence to suggest he's got a chance. Monetarily speaking, I don't think it's going to be close. And listen, you need money in these races. You got to have, if you don't have the money, you got to have a major grassroots campaign that is highly effective. Mike Zinnigy had that 4 years ago. You may recall his name, and he almost pulled it off. He lost by a few hundred votes in Overland Park. I've not seen that from Farasati just yet. So, and once you're the incumbent, listen, once you're the incumbent in a municipal race, it's very difficult to unseat that person because, as Dave said, turnout's low. A lot of people just don't care. So, I mean, we'll kind of monitor things on that front in the weeks to come, and I'd love to be wrong about this, but I'm not anticipating some big shakeup at City Hall in Overland Park, whether it's council, mayor's race, anything like that. I think the status quo will prevail.